For the second time in 3 weeks, the Ravens and Browns will meet in this awesome AFC North rivalry, and there's a little bit of a rivalry going on at Chat Sports as well. Ravens rundown down to the Cleveland Browns report in subscribers, and I'm being told in my ear right now, if the Ravens rundown gets more subs than the Cleveland report, Ravens not only are going to win here at Chat Sports, they're going to win the game come Sunday. You're watching the Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr. I hope all of you are having a fantastic week. Really big game coming up this weekend between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. The second time in 3 weeks that these two bitter rivals are going to meet. And a couple weeks ago on primetime, it was a really fascinating game between these two squads who know each other very well. Browns right now sitting at 6-6. Ravens right now with an 8-4 record. They've really struggled over the last couple of weeks. And last week, a gut punch of a loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, we all know how that game played out, with Harbaugh electing to go for two. Lamar Jackson's pass to Mark Andrews falling short because TJ Watt was right up in his mug. Ravens go down with an L. They're looking to get back into the winning column this weekend against the Cleveland Browns. And it would do a long and a big way in improving their AFC North title odds. So, next up, before we start to break this game down, dissect it, look ahead, injury report, my keys to the game, predict the score of this game this weekend between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns, get into the comment section right now. Here at Chat Sports, we're all about the audience interaction, so flood the comment section with your predictions for Baltimore Ravens, Cleveland Browns. These are two pretty solid offensive units when they're both clicking. Now, of course, for Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns, they haven't been the same offense as last year because Baker Mayfield has been hampered by a plethora of injuries. And the Baltimore Ravens got off to a great start this year. Lamar Jackson was playing like an MVP, but the last couple of weeks you have seen him kind of struggle because him having to carry the entire offensive load, given the injuries offensively and defensively, has started to catch up with him just a bit. And really, Lamar Jackson just has a lot of pressure to make every single play happen and be the offensive force for the Baltimore Ravens. And the pressure is on him yet again this coming weekend against a very good Cleveland Browns defense with a very good defensive line. Stats a couple of weeks ago against this Browns squad. Yes, the Ravens got the dub. Yes, Lamar made some plays late. He really struggled in that game though, folks. 20 of 32, 165, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions. At points, I was wondering, Lamar, you've been playing like an MVP this year. You have improved as a passer, coming such a long way since your rookie year. What are you doing? Where are you looking? And who are you throwing the ball to? 4 interceptions for a guy this deep into his career, inexcusable. I like the aggressiveness for sure. I don't like the decision-making that Lamar has been putting forward and showing on tape over the last couple of weeks. So your confidence level right now that Lamar Jackson, considering his struggles, is going to have a good game against the Browns as the Browns try to get revenge on Baltimore. Scale it for me from 1 to 10. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get hit with that YouTube ad break, just scroll on down, get your votes in, and by the time you do that, we'll be back breaking this game down. Defensive stats now. The Ravens going into the year, I love their defense, but now they've suffered a bevy of injuries. Marlon Humphrey done for the year. We'll talk about that here coming up. Total yards per game for the Ravens, 356. That is so uncharacteristic for a Don Wink Martindale defense. They're giving up little less than 22 points per game, so that's pretty solid. But in terms of yardage, they're getting gashed by offenses in terms of them just putting up a bunch of yards every single game, both through the air and on the ground. Takeaways pretty similar between these two squads, but the Browns a little bit of a better defensive team here in 2021. I'm going to need Lamar Jackson to be special, and that's really been the common theme all throughout the 2021 NFL season. That's the problem with suffering all of these injuries, and the injury bug hitting this franchise hard is that when your depth gets depleted, when some of your premier players get taken away, you have to rely on your special players to play make. Lamar Jackson has had to do that. Now, Mark Andrews has had a great year. Sammy Watkins was able to come through with that clutch touchdown last week. Hollywood Brown has been good at times, but really the pressure has been on Lamar. The pressure is going to be on him again this upcoming weekend, and I'm going to need him to be special. If you want to bet on this game, you can do so thanks to our sportsbook partner, BetUS. They're offering a 125% deposit bonus for first-time signups, and this deal applies for anybody, no matter where you live. All you have to do, use that link down below, chatsports.com/bet, and enter the promo code CHAT125. What does a 125% deposit mean? You put in $100, you get an additional $125 back. That's $225 to game with. As for the betting odds for this game, Cleveland Browns at home, 2.5-point favorites. Usually the home team getting about 3 points when they're at the friendly confines of their own stadium. The over-under for this game, extremely low at 42. Now at Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, it's part of the beauty of the AFC North. You never know what this weather's going to be like, even a couple of days in advance, and this could be a defensive slugfest. But when I'm looking at these odds, I'm thinking that the over might be able to hit, unlike it did a couple of games ago. You want to get those bets in, just use that link and that promo code down below. A lot of injury issues for Baltimore. Hey, what a surprise. That's been the common theme there this year in 2021. These Ravens, are questionable. Anthony Averett, Nick Boyle, Patrick McCarry, Patrick Queen, Jimmy Smith, and really a lot of these guys on the defensive side of the football. Patrick Ricard, the fullback, also questionable. So too is Chris Westry, Tavon Young. Shout out to a fellow Temple great. I was there when he was there. That's why Temple football was so good at the time. He was a baller. Jalen Ferguson, questionable. And Odafe Owe, the great pass rusher who I think the Ravens got as a steal in the NFL draft coming out of Penn State, also is questionable. As for Marlon Humphrey, we covered it here on the Ravens Rundown earlier this week. Have to hit on it once again because, yes, the Browns no longer have OBJ, but they still have a lot of legitimate weapons, and Marlon Humphrey is paid as one of the best cornerbacks in the league, and he is one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Out for the remainder of the season. That was the fear after that Steelers loss. That fear then became reality with that pec injury. As for some Browns players who are dealing with the injury bug this week, these Browns are questionable. Harrison Bryant, Malik Jackson, Jarvis Landry, Anthony Schwartz, all of those guys a little bit banged up going into this weekend. And for Baker Mayfield, producer Jugs with a great graphic here, been hurt all season. He really has shoulder ailments, lower body ailments. You saw him a couple weeks ago limping. Browns coming off the bye, and they're at home taking on the Ravens for the second time in 3 weeks. Maybe that's a big reason why they are favorites against Baltimore, and that's a reason why Baker Mayfield could be due for a better game because he's maybe recovering from the litany of injuries that he has dealt with this year. Make sure you subscribe to the Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports, whether it's me, Tom Downey, Harrison Graham, Mitchell Renz, whoever is here at the Chat Sports offices and the Chat Sports studios. We're spitting fire. We're giving you Ravens content. We're trying to grow this channel, so if you like what you're seeing, and maybe you like my pretty face, maybe I'll be able to appear on more Ravens videos. You have to subscribe, though, to show us that love. My keys to victory for Baltimore. It's a tricky test when you take on a divisional rival for the second time in 3 weeks, and when that rival is coming off a bye, and when you're on the road for the second consecutive week, coming off that last-second really physical loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cannot turn the football over, or at least you have to win the turnover battle. Baltimore was flirting with disaster against the Browns a couple of weeks ago. You got to stop shooting yourself in the foot. This is a team that is well coached enough to be a playoff contender. They still have enough talent to make a deep playoff run. They can still win the AFC North in this gauntlet and crazy-ass division, but you have to stop turning the football over, and you have to avoid some of those avoidable mistakes that we've seen this Ravens team make this year. Also, sell out to stop the run. I want to see if Baker Mayfield can actually put the team on his shoulders and win a game by himself. How many times has he had to rely on either Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, Dearness Johnson to carry them to a victory on the offensive side of the ball? Total yards per game for the Browns offense this year, 354 plus. Passing yards per game, 207. Baker Mayfield has not lived up to the expectations of being that number 1 overall pick a couple of years ago, and he hasn't shown the ability to really carry the offensive load through the air. He's good when everything is scripted. He's good when he can play ahead. If he has to come back or make throws late in the game, he hasn't been very good, hasn't been very effective, or has he been very efficient? A lot of that has to do with the injuries, but this is a Ravens defense that can certainly get after it, and they can provide a lot of pressure on Baker. Lastly, got to protect Lamar Jackson, man. This guy is a bona fide MVP candidate. I rave about the strides that he has made as a passer. He has come such a far way since getting drafted at the back end of that first round several years ago out of Louisville. We didn't think this guy was going to be a passer, or at least a lot of people didn't think he could be a good passer. He's developed into that. We always knew about his running ability. You got to protect him to allow him to make plays. As for TJ Watt, he is having a historic season, and he is within striking distance of overtaking Michael Strahan's single-season record for the most sacks in a season. And against the Ravens, he was really, really good. 3.5 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 6 total tackles, 6 quarterback hits. And I say all of this because guess who's coming at Lamar Jackson's neck next? It's Myles Garret. A week after you get TJ Watt, arguably the Defensive Player of the Year, you get maybe the runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year in Myles Garret. He, too, was good against the Ravens a couple weeks ago. He always causes havoc. He always causes destruction, and that's why I say you have to, and I mean you have to, protect Lamar Jackson. 5 tackles, a tackle for loss, 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits for Myles Garret. If he's consistently getting after and running down Lamar Jackson, it could be a low-scoring affair, and it could be a tough go for this Baltimore Ravens offense. You got to adjust to these pass rushers, man. I know the offensive line isn't what we thought it was going to be going into this year because of those injuries. There have been coverage breakdowns. The O-line certainly needs some help. Maybe you allow some of the running backs to chip with some pass protection. I don't know, running backs, tight ends. Chip Garrett every single play, bring out Mark Andrews to chip him, go out for a route down the seam, target him there, but you have to be able to protect Lamar Jackson. Make sure, before we get out of here, you subscribe to the channel, and also make sure you hop into the comment section and flood that thing. Biggest key to a Ravens win against the Browns, let me know right now down in the comment section. And thanks for watching Ravens Rundown. As for the AFC playoff picture, we always appreciate you making the show a part of your day. Ravens right in the mix in the AFC playoff picture. Now, they're atop the AFC North with that 8-4 record, but who is right behind them? The Cincinnati Bengals at 7-5, the Pittsburgh Steelers at 6-5-1, especially after that win over Baltimore. Things are going to get fascinating until the end of the regular season, and this is why the NFL is must-watch TV. Speaking of those AFC North standings, Ravens atop the division at 8-4, followed by the Bengals at 7-5, Steelers at 6-5-1, and the Browns, if they win this game to move to 7-6 and they drop the Ravens to 8-6, that's when this division goes from being crazy to being epic and unpredictable. Like this video if you think the Ravens can win the AFC North. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Ravens flock, show out, and show this squad that you care about them and you have faith in them getting a big dub on the road against the Cleveland Browns.